So, how do you get good bone structure? If you clicked on this video, you probably already understand it's not just genetics. Most men with wide hips, narrow shoulders, recessed faces are from environmental factors. I won't lie, the younger you are, the more beneficial this video will be. Do not worry though, even adults will get benefits, not just bone structure wise, but in many other aspects as well. So please stick around. Let's begin. Your hormones affect your bone structure greatly. Women have high estrogen, men have high testosterone. It's one of the biggest reasons that makes us so different physically. Men also don't want too high estrogen, especially not from artificial sources, the effects of which are incredibly damaging. But what artificial sources? Those are estrogenics. Estrogenics are things that mimic your estrogen. Once in your blood, they bind with estrogen receptors. Think of the receptor as a phone, and estrogen is a message being sent to the phone. In normal amounts, perfect, because even men need some estrogen, and the deficiency, though rare, can be very bad. Nonetheless, the effects of high estrogen go as deep as bone structure. So I'm gonna go rapid fire here and list off some common estrogenics. All I want from you is to please give me your complete attention. Now, starting with plastic. Don't eat from it, don't drink from it, and don't wear it. So many men out there are wearing polyester underwear, and I was one of them. You're surrounding your most important spot for producing testosterone with plastic. Actually, avoid all synthetic fibers, not just for your boxers, not just for your clothes, but your bed as well. Cotton bed sheets, cotton blanket, cotton pillow. You do spend 1/3 of your life in bed. Some like to get wool clothes and stuff. You can get that. It's just cotton is cheap and easy to find. Walmart sells cotton clothes, and you can get bed sheets and stuff on Amazon. Next, avoid phytoestrogens. These are plant estrogens that bind with human estrogen receptors. Don't worry about chickpeas and stuff. Avoid the heavy hitters like flax seeds and soy. Put extra care in avoiding soy because it's so common, especially in the form of oil. There will be people who'll tell you to eat soy. It's a very big industry. Please don't do it. On the topic of oil, avoid seed oils, especially stuff like canola oil. Sunflower isn't as bad, it's just high in omega-6. Be warned, canola oil is pretty serious because it does have trans fat. You don't want trans fat. Next, avoid GMOs and pesticides, herbicides, all the sides if you get what I mean. Buy organic or better yet locally. Make sure your dairy doesn't have RBST. RBST is when they inject the cows with artificial hormones, causing them to produce more milk but making them sickly and requiring more antibiotics. You don't want artificial hormones or antibiotics blasted in your food. Make sure milk or meat is always grass-fed because otherwise the cows are fed moldy grain. And moldy grain has a toxin called ZEA, which is so potent it's sometimes prescribed to women as hormonal therapy. Same goes for other animal products. No antibiotics, none of that. This applies to pretty much everything, but if a label doesn't say no hormones or no antibiotics, then they're probably blasting it. For eggs, get them pasture-raised, but don't confuse them with pasteurized. You can buy animal products locally as well. Next, make sure your water is filtered. I know it sounds crazy, but very few water sources aren't contaminated with birth control, especially in the US. What happens is women on birth control pee it out and it goes back into the water. And sadly, those huge water plants don't filter it out. You'd be surprised how much birth control is actually in there. And birth control is incredibly damaging to your hormones, especially men. Plus, a good filter will remove the fluoride in your water as well. I know many websites are saying water with fluoride is good for tooth decay prevention. Maybe, but it's awful for everything else. And on the topic of fluoride, make sure it's not in your toothpaste. Get some simple toothpaste that lacks all the extra stuff. I use Burt's Bees. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just the one I like to use. Same for soap, shampoo, conditioner. No parabens, no estrogenic fragrance, no sulfates, none of that. Throw out that 3-in-1 bottle. You can buy soap bars locally. That's what I do. Next one, not necessarily estrogenic, but still about hormones. Stop taking melatonin. Believe it or not, melatonin itself is a hormone, and one of the only ones you can buy without any prescription. But when you're taking pills, it's very bad, especially for those still growing. There's a good bit of evidence about it affecting puberty. Even Huberman mentions that fact. Wow, that was a lot. But don't worry, we'll have a review section in a bit. Before that though, let's look into some more conventional advice. If you for some reason aren't doing it already, train hard consistently with some cardio too. But what you might not know about training is sprinting. Sprinting has been shown to be very effective at boosting growth hormone. And with what the science is saying, it's probably one of the best exercises for doing so. Even if it doesn't make you taller, growth hormone offers a lot of benefits. In some ways, it's kind of related to testosterone, and it helps with muscle mass. Personally, when I started doing it, I grew from 5'10" to 5'11". I don't know how much of it is attributed to that, but I guess that kind of gives away my age though. Next, I know you know this already, get enough sleep, and get enough high quality sleep. What you might not know though is how beneficial sun exposure is in the morning. I can't go into many details here, but just trust me, it's very important. If it's bright and sunny, 1 minute should be enough. On cloudy days, 10 minutes maybe more. Don't stare directly at the sun, of course. Make sure it doesn't hurt your eyes. Look at its general direction, not through a window and not with sunglasses. That kind of makes it useless. But during the evening, it's also very beneficial to look at the sunset. So you can just open your window and enjoy the sun a little bit. But this is also a good opportunity to go on a walk in the morning and in the evening. Maybe bring your dog. And of course, if we're doing all this stuff for your circadian rhythm, that means don't be on your phone at night. If you have to, at least turn on a blue light blocker. Next, eat good food. You know what food is bad for you, you know what's good. Just don't fall for any of that low fat stuff. But on the topic of nutrients, zinc and vitamin D, very important for testosterone, but at the same time, some of the most common deficiencies out there. For vitamin D, 600 IUs a day will definitely not cut it. On a day when you're not outside a lot, and I mean like a good amount, I'm not talking a 10-minute walk, then take 5,000 IUs, preferably with K2 to help absorption, but it's not a necessary step. And preferably take it with food. Now, zinc. I used to have a pretty crazy deficiency. I had issues producing enough stomach acid, so I had problems digesting food and would get acid reflux. Because my stomach acid wasn't acid enough to close the valve and stop the acid from rising. I had a lot of white spots on my nails as well. Some white spots are fine because these can also be caused by some bruising to the nail bed, but there probably shouldn't be many. And of course, my testosterone, since zinc is so important, it also felt lower. More complacent, less motivated, you know how it goes. If you think you have this, take a small dose, preferably of copper. Copper isn't there to help absorption, it's just when you supplement zinc, your copper goes down. So it's just to keep things balanced. Lastly, not really important, but worth mentioning, there's some testosterone supplements on the market. I don't know much about these. I know about ashwagandha, and that one can't hurt, and some possible benefits from creatine. Honestly, guys, I've never really looked into these. Now, if you got this far, you're a real trooper. But let's do some review. Don't consume from plastic and don't touch plastic. Avoid flax seeds and soy. Avoid seed oils. Buy grass-fed, no antibiotic, no hormone milk. Same for meats. Get them all of the highest quality. Buy pasture-raised eggs. Buy non-GMO organic veggies and fruits. Next, get your water filtered properly. Have high-quality toothpaste, shampoo, and soap to avoid all the estrogenic stuff. Avoid melatonin. Lastly, train hard and consistently. Some cardio and sprint a few times a week. You can screenshot this to be able to apply it better. Now, if you're following all of this, your hormones should be in check, which means your bone structure should develop properly. Broad shoulders, narrow hips, your face will be a little bit more masculine, more prominent facial bones. And little side note, even adults will likely experience this benefit. Yes, at 16 you're done growing, but the skull, unlike the femur and forearms, isn't a long bone, it's more of a flat bone. It doesn't really have growth plates that just fuse one day. So even though a 16-year-old might be done developing, compare a 16-year-old to a 26-year-old. Sure, they might look different because men get facial hair later in life, their body fat percentage might change, but their bones will probably be slightly different. For example, when full-grown bodybuilders start taking steroids, their facial bones change, so naturally boosting your testosterone in your adulthood over time will likely yield some changes. And there's actually something that will help your facial bones even more, which I'll get into later. But now, let's return to the benefits for those still growing. You'll probably be a little bit taller, and I forgot to mention this, zinc plus vitamin D are both also some of the most important stuff for growing taller. Moving on, as you probably understand by now, hormones are very important for your development. You know how I know this? Because I did everything I told you not to do. Sleep, bad. Training, of course not. The only thing I pretty much ate was chips, and you know what oil those are made out of. And instead of water, I mostly drank Coca-Cola. I didn't just eat the standard American diet. I did it worse. My hips were wide, my shoulders were not. My face was recessed from years of incorrect posture and mouth breathing. Luckily, I was very young when I figured this out, so as I grew, my proportions equaled out, and I was able to fix it. So fix it when you still have time, and your future self will thank you. But now, face. How do you make it better? Mewing, nose breathing, and all the habits. Let me tell you how to mew correctly. Tongue fully on the roof of your mouth. You shouldn't touch your front teeth. The back 1/3 of your tongue should be up as well. Now swallow and create a vacuum to keep your tongue up there. All this is your natural tongue posture. Trends have kind of made it a joke. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's people in random villages who've been mewing their whole life and they have no idea what it is. That's just how you're naturally supposed to hold your tongue. Like gravity. Without gravity, your bones would get so weak. A similar concept happens with your skull when your tongue isn't at the right position and not applying that natural force, your skull suffers. All mewing does is it moves your bones into the correct position. You're not actually really growing any new bone. Oh, and don't clench your jaw, just keep your teeth lightly together. And keep your lips sealed and closed. If your lips are too short to be closed, perform the stretch daily. Open your mouth as wide as you can, raise your eyebrows, and try to make your lips touch. Perform it for 5 seconds or more for 3 sets of 10. And do it several times a day. And always breathe with your nose. I don't care how intense the cardio is you're doing. And if it's really that challenging, just go easier. This will increase your performance in the long run anyway. Only occasionally exhale with your mouth, but breathing in is always a no-no. It might be hard at first, so go easier on your cardio. When I'm doing so much cardio that my ears are turning red, I'm still breathing with my nose the entire time. Alright, doing that the entire day, easy enough. Maybe even get a reminder to help you. But at night, it's a lot harder. So you might want to tape your mouth at night. Don't use duct tape, preferably get something made for it, like micropore tape. I do have more tips on an older video that you can check out after this. Chewing harder foods like our ancestors probably did, I heard helps speed up results. That's kind of a pain though, so I just bought these jaw trainers instead. I don't like the jazzercise ones because they pull on your front teeth. When using these, make sure you're chewing evenly on both sides. Make sure you aren't overdoing it. And also keep your body posture good. Don't be like the Facebook logo. Eat, walk, and sit properly. Do that and you'll be like that one song. You know, the one that goes, bye-bye. Okay, maybe not, but seriously, I had really good results with this myself. Nonetheless, let's do one final review. Hold your tongue up on the roof of your mouth, including the back third. Hold it there with a vacuum. Keep your teeth lightly together and your lips closed. Always breathe with your nose and train your jaw or chew hard foods and have good body posture. That's it. Good job. The video is pretty much over now. I am planning to do a face reveal in about a year or so. I'd love to do some different sort of content then. Maybe challenge Ice Cold JT to a push-up challenge. And I definitely want to show my mewing progress as well. And that's it. Have a good day.